Real quick,
Yeah.
that something my friends and I talk about a lot is to make it in Hollywood is you need a healthy level of delusion. You know, it's such, especially for people, Pete, like you and I, that grew up in like small towns with like no connections to the entertainment industry. And Matt, I know you went to a performing arts high school, but still
Yeah.
you didn't have like an in to the industry. And for any of us to think I'm going to do this and succeed in doing it is so delusional. It's such a crazy thing to put on yourself. So I'm really curious if you can relate to that and how that plays out in this trajectory.
I completely agree, and I like really want that delusion again. Like
Yeah.
every time I sit down to write, I'm like, ugh,
Totally.
this is so hard. Am I just being stupid to think that these words are going to sound good coming out of someone's mouth and anyone's going to want to watch this, especially in today where there's just so much coming at us? But I think that's the healthiest thing in the world. And like, just why not be a little stupid? And
Totally.
maybe that's the lesson of me doing this podcast, is to go be more delusional.
Be more
again.
delusional. I love that.
Yeah. I also think there's this sense of like, I'll speak for myself, that like so much of my own personal sense of self was wrapped up in what I thought that I could achieve or not. And then obviously as a result of that, there's like an extreme amount of like hustle that is imbued in that, right? Because you are essentially like hustling for your self-worth, right? You're like, if I don't make it, then I'm not the person. And then it's something, it's interesting is when you achieve like a certain level of success, that part maybe falls away a little bit, right? Because you're not like, if I don't have this, then what kind of person am I? But then trying to also find that sort of motivation, that creative inspiration to keep going, to stay engaged, stay interested, to be inspired. It just requires something different than like for me when it was like the entire focus of my life, you know, and the stakes were really high and therefore the ups were really high and the lows were really high. But finding that like balanced, like middle ground where you're like, okay, I love to do this, you know, like this is my job now. And how do I keep moving this forward while also having this like balanced life is like an interesting, like next level, I feel like, of creative exploration, you know, and self-exploration.